Not everyone understands house music. It's a spiritual thing, a body thing, a soul thing, a soul thing.
Hi, thanks for joining me on the Everything and Anything at a Bit Gay podcast. Today I have a brand new guest. His name is Martone, and he is a lots of things. I don't even know where to start because he's a dance recording artist, he's a DJ, he's a author. He's got a number 3 on the Amazon best-selling list called Deep and Raw: The Erotica of Martone. He is known as the Emperor of House Music, and I mean his resume and what he has accomplished just goes on and on and on. So welcome to my show.
No problem, Zach. Thank you for having me.
So let's back up. Tell me how you got started being a DJ, loving music, doing dance recording. How did you get into that?
Well, so the origin goes way back. So, like, when I was like 13 or 14 years old,
Mhm.
my Aunt Barbara had took me down to the local cable station, which was called Continental Cablevision at the time.
Okay.
And so I signed up for a producer's class, and that was a way to basically like keep me out of trouble. I wanted to be like Donnie Simpson and be on TV and host a music video show, and so that's how I basically got my start.
So you got a little bit of the bug from it from this class at 13 years old. That's pretty young too.
Yeah, it was very young. I produced and hosted live TV. I would tell you that I would never do that again because that was extremely stressful.
Yeah.
Trying to direct and host at the same time. So
And you grew up in Michigan, right?
I did.
And is Michigan is that your home base today still?
Yes. I just recently moved back here last year
Okay. And where are you living? Like were you in New York?
in Dallas.
In Dallas, okay. Oh, okay, so I lived in Dallas for a year and a half for a job. What did you think about Dallas?
It was beautiful, but it was too hot.
Yes, it was way too hot.
Yeah.
It was just too different. I think because I've always lived in the Northeast, or I grew up in Miami, so I've always been on the East Coast.
Okay.
And Miami was not hot like it is in Dallas. It's a different hot in Dallas. So
Yeah. My grandmother asked me about that, and I described it to her as like being up under a blow dryer.
yes.
That's exactly how I felt all the time.
And whenever you're air conditioning in your house, central air
Mhm.
can't keep up with how hot it is outside, there it's too hot. So that's how it was in
Right.
our house.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But
Um, s
it was definitely a beautiful city. I met a lot of good people down there.
yeah.
So yeah.
I kind of read it that you do a lot in Michigan, a lot in New York. Obviously, you're doing some things in Dallas. Do you have anything for plans for doing a tour, or do you just kinda go to gigs as they come up? And tell me about that.
Well, that is definitely my dream to do a full scale tour,
Yeah.
but mainly where my music is accepted and people can vibe to it because I don't want to go to a place where people don't understand it.
Yeah.
So,
So what's your audience?
as in terms of the type of people that come,
2 questions. Who are you making your music for? And then, like, who's the audience coming to see you perform?
mainly for myself, that's how it started out. That's what,
Yeah.
I made the music for initially. I didn't even really realize my dream fully until after my father had passed away. And that was, basically me thinking that life was too short. So I better hurry up and do exactly it is what I want to do. But when my first performance, there were all different types of people that were there. My first performance was at the Prophet Bar in Dallas. So that was like um, I would say a cultural mix in
Okay.
that area. Yeah. So ranging from ages, I would say probably about 18 to mid 40s, maybe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And part of what was sent over to me about your championing LGBTQ empowerment. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I am an LGBTQ artist.
Okay.
So I definitely try to make music that speaks to what it was that I wanted to hear when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I wanted to portray the types of images that I wish that I could see and, speak about while I was growing up.
And then how did you decide to kind of get into writing or having this book come out? I mean, being number 3 on any Amazon list is pretty damn amazing. So you must be so proud of that. So tell me how you got into that.
I am, and I thought so too. And I was kind of shocked when I saw it because the book just came out on March 18th.
Wow. That's a really a
And
success.
yeah, and so it's so crazy because I was like, at the beginning of February, I said, I think I want to write a book. February this year, November, I started doing like 30 days of poetry, like posting different things
Mhm.
on Instagram, like short poems. And I started posting daily poetry on my Instagram feed. And so from then, I just couldn't get out of that mode of writing poetry, and I ended up writing different poetries about different types of relationships that I've had in my life,
Mhm.
like the hopes and dreams that I wish that come of those particular situations. And so I kind of blended the poetry with short stories. And by February 10th, I basically finished the book and I put it on Amazon for sale. So it was like a maybe 30 or 45-day period from the time that I decided that I want to write it versus the time that it was released.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So are you in a relationship today?
One that's ending.
Okay. So does that mean that
And
maybe you would be open to other finding somebody else, or the one that you're with is good for now?
well, I'm basically gonna take my time focusing on this music and all things Martone
Okay.
coming up. I have a lot on my plate at the
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
Who took you to the class when you were 13 years old? Who took you to that? Your aunt?
My Aunt Barbara, and I recently just thanked her for that because I realized that I had, like, she was definitely part of my story about
Mhm.
how I got started. So I had to
And when
make
you
sure
came
she
out
knew
as
that.
in the LGBTQ community, was she supportive of this?
I pretty much so. I mean, I have a lot of aunts and uncles. So my mom has 9 brothers and sisters.
Okay.
So who I'm close to kind of depends on, where they're at in their life
Yeah.
too. So, um, yep. But pretty much for the most part, she's been pretty supportive.
And when you came out whenever you talked to your mom about it, was she supportive and was the rest of your family supportive?
No, are you kidding?
Oh, they're no. Okay.
I'm basically like a PK, a preacher's kid.
Oh,
So,
okay. I didn't know this part of the story.
oh
This is a whole
yeah,
'nother
so
story.
yeah, so my grandfather had a church in our hometown of Lansing, Michigan.
Okay.
So strictly religious. You had to go to church every Sunday, and
Mhm.
then they had the Wednesday night revival meeting. So they were like in and out of church basically all week. It was like a job without getting paid. So, but I mean, I have one aunt that I'm been extremely close to. That would be my aunt Deborah.
Okay.
So, we would talk about different things about life and love and situations, relationships and things of that nature. She wasn't judgmental at all.
And so whenever your family didn't accept it, do you think it kind of helped you whenever you were creating your music or when you're thinking it? I mean, maybe not writing this book particularly, but
Uh,
whenever you're like being creative, do you think that's kind of helped you in some ways?
Now more than ever, I just was writing my album that's coming out in July, Phoenix Rising. A lot of that has to do with situations growing up, my childhood, and all those different types of things. Basically about coming out, my
Mhm.
coming out story. But I wrote a song a few years ago called Love Out Loud that was pretty popular,
Awesome.
and that dealt with a lot about coming out as LGBT or gay or whatever.
Yeah. So whenever you're going to New York, so I have a another podcast. It's called the Alphabet Mafia, and I co-host it with a guy named Slam. And Slam was in um, Madonna's Blonde Ambition tour, and he was in the movie
Oh,
Truth or Dare. And he talks a lot about where they would go to the Sound Factory and go dancing and just kind of all the house music and stuff. And I don't know, he's got a lot of kinda great stories about the whole New York scene and stuff, and just as he was, you know, touring with Madonna, how he told me a story, like, when they were in Boston on tour, and they got in a plane one night in the middle of the night and flew down to New York 'cause it's a quick flight, and went to
mhm,
Sound Factory, and then had to get back up to Boston before the show started that night, and they loved the whole house music,
mhm.
that whole thing. So do you I mean, I feel like New York has changed where you had
It
those
has.
big clubs and, like the Sound Factory or the Limelight, like all those clubs like that are kind of gone because there's no space in New York anymore.
Right? I think the first time I went to New York, I went to this club called Splash,
Yes, yes, yes. And now
and
it's
I love.
gone.
Oh yeah, I heard about that, but I just remember walking in there and they had this carpet on the floor, and I almost broke my neck trying to get to the restroom
Yeah,
because But other than that, I mean, I had a really good time there.
yeah,
Even from the drag shows and all that, and it was just like a whole another type of level of performances that they gave at that club.
yeah.
And I did go to Stonewall, and also there was another club that kind of reminded me of like a piano bar where people were singing show tunes. I can't think of the
Oh,
name.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know it's down on Christopher Street. I can't think of the name of it either. Duplex.
Yeah, and I had a really good friend that lived there. Kind of lost contact with him, but I missed him because he worked at Chelsea Piers, and we went out there and just had a really good time and spent the night out on the town.
Yeah. The places that I used to go to were, like, in the '90s, so I'm older
Mhm.
than you probably,
I'm
and
not stepping into that one.
okay. So, in the '90s, and it was, like, these old warehouses, or there was a place called The Tunnel, and I think it used to I don't know, I
Mhm,
feel like it used to be a train station, and they were, like, really
mhm.
big spaces in New York. These places no longer exist because real estate is crazy, and they're probably all apartment
Yeah,
buildings now.
that is so sad to me.
And it's just like the Palladium, I mean, all these amazing, huge spaces that were in the middle of New York City, and you would go. And I remember the tunnel, like, it was a mixed crowd, gay, straight, everything, and,
Mhm,
we would go in, and because we were gay, we would, like, get to skip the front of the line, and there was, like, this lounge that was on the side that only certain people could get in, and, like, you would go into it, and it was like a whole secret world. I don't know, I loved New York in the '90s, and just I'm trying to think what the Roxy. The Roxy was just such a great club because it was also I don't know, on Sundays or something, you could roller skate there too.
mhm.
It was a whole thing, and it was just I loved the New York club scene in the '90s. It was so amazing.
That sounds amazing, and I'm sorry I missed out on
Yeah,
that.
well, you were probably like 2, so that's
But I used to see a lot of that stuff, especially back in the day when MTV actually used to play music videos.
Yes.
They would come from those, have live sets or what
Yeah.
have you, from those different venues, iconic venues, and I'm just like, I don't understand why people don't preserve that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just too expensive. I mean, I couldn't even
Mhm,
imagine, like, this place, the tunnel was huge. I mean, it was,
Hmm.
if they sold it today, it would be $30 million or something.
Oh,
I'm just
wow.
guessing. It was there was so much room there, and I'm sure they tore it down and have made. I should actually look that up to see what's there now, but I'm sure it's a big high-rise building where they're making, charging $8,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. So
Oh, wow. That is crazy. It sounds almost like Dallas.
yeah, exactly. Did you go to the Roundup in Dallas?
I've been there. I think maybe once or twice. I think that was on Cedar Springs.
Yes.
Yes, I did go there one time. What's crazy to me is like up north they have strippers. I guess that means something totally different down in Dallas because they don't really actually. There's no art to taking off your clothes and performing down there. They're just wiggling around
Oh yeah.
the the room. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. I mean, I think that Dallas gay culture is so different too because
It is.
this is how I see Dallas. I see Dallas, there's a lot of like people that live out, around this big state of Texas, which is a crazy state anyway, I think.
It is.
And then you have people
I
that are
agree.
from smaller towns in Louisiana or Mississippi or wherever they're from, Oklahoma, and they come to Dallas to be themselves. And it's kind of one of the only, well, Austin, I guess, too, and Houston are liberal, but really Dallas is one of the only liberal places, especially in the north of the state. And I had a couple of friends there, and we'd go out. And one night we were walking from bar to bar on Cedar Springs, and
Hmm.
I see all these guys wearing these like dog face outfits, leather, and
Hmm.
it's 110 degrees outside. I'm like,
Oh
what
my
is?
goodness.
And they're called pups. So there's a whole pups thing there. Do you know what this is?
I don't.
Uh, okay, so I had to. My friends had to stop me in the sidewalk and explain to me what the pups were. So they wear these like leather dog faces, and
Hmm.
they're wearing like a harness, and they're walking around. There's like two or three or four of them together, and they're called packs. And if they see somebody they like, they gather around them and start howling like dogs, and that means
Oh
they
my
like you.
goodness.
It's a
Oh
whole
my.
thing. Like it's a
Oh
whole.
my goodness. I need to ask some friends about that because I never seen anything.
Okay,
I've
you have
never.
to Google it or ask your friends because it's called
Okay.
pups. Because I feel like it's a growing thing, and I think anybody can do whatever they want and be whoever they want and do whatever. So I don't care. But I guess I couldn't get over the fact that it was 100 degrees or more, and they're wearing this pure leather face covering that covered the back of their head and everything. I'm like, aren't you dying?
Oh my goodness. Exactly. They had to have 911 on standby or
I guess so.
something. you know.
So what do you want to do next? Like you've done a lot already, and like one question is like, who would you want to work with? Who would you want to collaborate with? Is there somebody that's like your dream?
I've often said Janet Jackson is probably
Yep.
one person that I would love to collaborate with on music.
Any connections there where you could get into her?
I know we have a lot of mutual friends, so
Yeah.
and people that she's previously worked with, um, maybe that way,
Yep.
but she's busy right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, let's tag her in this podcast when I post this out. And you can tag her in your social, and then maybe she'll listen. You never know.
Right,
And then when you guys
right,
are getting your Grammy, the only thing I ask to be is just thank you, Zach, for setting me up with Janet. That's all I ask.
exactly. Will do. I definitely will do that. I just hope as for collaborating with anyone else, I really don't know. I mean, I have a single coming out with an Intelligent Diva that drops
Yep.
on May 16th. And then I've also worked with other people on the previous album, Erogenous Home. But as for doing like a full on scale collaboration,
Yep.
that's hard trying to coordinate schedules and
Yeah.
things of that nature. And a lot of it is basically done online now. And then one thing that people need to be aware of is just making sure that you're on the same page about everything in terms of when it's time to do promoting and stay on schedule.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, especially when you're dealing with, people that are creative that you gotta be on the same page with everything, so
One person wants to move now, and I've just tried to be a little bit more patient when it comes to releasing new things because I have too much going
yeah.
on. Yeah. And that
And would
whole, go ahead. Sorry.
what's your ultimate goal? Like, what's your ultimate, like, "Oh," when you feel like, "This is what I wanted, this is what I've been working for." What would that be?
I guess, basically for life to change for the better, I don't even know what that looks like anymore, especially living in the time that we are
Yeah.
in now. So I guess we have to just keep pushing forward.
Have you thought about doing any projects that kinda talks about, like, this crazy country that we're living in and all the things that are happening?
I do have another book coming out and at the end of August, and I don't want to talk about it right now,
Okay.
but it's charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever think we would be here?
At this particular place, no, I never dreamed of it. I
Yeah.
don't understand how people could just sit there and vote against their own interests.
Yeah. I feel like the LGBTQ plus community, the African American community, the Latino community, I feel like everybody made so many steps forward,
Hmm.
and then I feel like it was all wiped out. So I try not to be political in the show, but it's very hard not to be sometimes. So
I understand exactly what you're saying.
I
I mean,
just it's depressing, like, how we've just taken so many steps back in such a short period of time.
mhm, exactly. That was well, they've been chipping away at our rights for years.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm not happy about is that how social media right now is kind of like spoon feeding us propaganda.
Mhm.
I'm like, I didn't ask to see this. Why is it showing up on my feed?
Yep.
It's not just one post here or there. It's like a list of them. Like, I'm like, what is this? And I try and go and report the pages, but Meta is falling behind on checking that stuff, and a lot of it is inaccurate
Yep.
information.
Yeah, what's the people that watch, the Fox News that go out and then start posting it, or they have their bots posting it, so it's kinda all over the place.
Oh yeah, I try to clap back on some of it, but I'm like, okay, this could turn into a full time job. I don't have time for that.
I was doing the same thing. I was going on, and my mom is a, my
Mhm.
mom is a very big Democrat, and she posts
Mhm.
all this stuff, and she says how she feels because she's 75 and she can do that.
Right.
And she says anything that our president or any of them do, she'll call it out online. And then she has some of her Republican friends that go on. And my mom, I've never thought of her like this, but she claps right back at them. I'm just like, I love it. So
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're armed with facts, you cannot lose.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it was great having you on. So everybody should go to your website. You have a really great website. I'm going to spell it in case, and I'll put it in the description of the podcast too, but it's Martone Online, Marton online.com. Also, you have a really great catalog of music on Spotify, on Apple
Mhm.
Music. You have a great YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel is The Real Martone. Same thing for the Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. So
Yes.
go on. Do you have any more videos coming up that you are proud of that you have done that's going to be out soon?
Well, I just did a thank you video for people helping Deep and Raw become number 3 on Amazon. I just want to get into the studio and
Yeah.
start recording music. And then after that, I'll probably, do some videos for like dance rehearsals
Yeah.
that we have coming up. So I guess that would be the next thing. But I'm in contact with the director about all different types of videos or music videos that I want to put together, and some that I felt that should have been music videos in the past, and bring those to life as well.
Plus, you got to start getting ready for your Janet Jackson debut too. Don't forget that.
Exactly. Ex- Exactly. And I just want to make a correction on the website. It's martoneonline.com, Martone
Oh,
online.
is that not what I said?
Yeah,
Oh,
there
I'm
was an
sorry
E
about that.
in between.
Martone online.com.
Yes.
And also Blue Sky. How's Blue Sky going? I'm thinking of going. I'm on Blue Sky, but I haven't done much with it. Is it picking up?
Apparently it is. Rachel Maddow, she's like really
Yeah.
big on there. So she finally got them to increase the length of the amount of time of videos that you can put on there up to
Okay.
a minute. So I was happy to hear that. But, it's kind of hard getting followers on
Yeah.
there at this particular time. I think it's the more so engaged with politics than anything else. I hardly see anything about music or
Yeah, I think that's why I haven't gone to it so recently because that seemed very political because all the people that didn't agree with X came over to Blue Sky, and I'm like, okay, well, this is just. I mean, it's my people on Blue Sky. It
just like
seems.
a bubble, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I-
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, you want different viewpoints, but at the same time, you don't want to be inundated with homophobia and racism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, be sure to go to Amazon and check out his new book. Let's get him to number one, everybody. Deep and Raw, the erotica of Martone. It's number 3 now. We would love to see it number 1 in the next couple of weeks. So go out and buy that, and then leave a comment, give him a review on Amazon, and tell him what you think about it.
Thank you for that, Zach. I appreciate that.
It was great having you on, and good luck. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the Grammy shout out whenever you and Janet Jackson are accepting the award. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Zach. You have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Talk to you soon.
Not everyone understands house music. It's a spiritual thing, a body thing, a soul thing, a soul thing, 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 thing. Not everyone understands house music.